Hello, 5 Minutes of Fire, friends. Brad Singleton coming to you live for your daily motivation and encouragement. This is episode 466 of 5 Minutes of Fire. The topic today is how to feel like a kid again. Well, if you watched my post from yesterday, not yesterday, Friday, I guess I've slept since then. Anyways, doesn't matter. No, Saturday. We'll get our days locked in. On Saturday, I spent the morning playing with my 2.5-year-old, and we had a blast. We set up all his superheroes and all the evil villains that we came up with, and then we got all his animals out, and we set up the zoo, and we created this battle between the good guys and the bad guys, and I played with him for hours, and it was super, super, super fun. And I posted a video of us doing that together, and that was super fun. But then that night, I was hanging out with my older son. Now, connecting with my older son, my 17-year-old, is obviously different than connecting with my 2.5-year-old, but not a whole lot. So he wanted to go to a political rally. Now, obviously, my son and I have very different political views, but I decided to go with him, step into an environment that that I necessarily wouldn't have chose to unless it was just simply an effort to connect with him. So we decided to add to that by I said, hey, let's go early and let's hang out. He's like, okay, cool. So, and I was just like, hey, what do you want to do? And so we went to a comic book shop, and we went out to eat, and then we got donuts, and then we went to the rally, and then after that, he's like, hey, you want to go to a movie? I was like, let me think about this. See, in that moment, I was faced with a decision. See, because that was Saturday night. I had to preach the next morning. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm normally in bed by 9 o'clock. It was, he said, let's go to a 10 o'clock showing of this movie. And I was like, oh, boy, I don't know about this. This old man needs to get sleep. But I realized my 17-year-old son is really, really enjoying hanging out with his dad right now. I think I need to leverage this. And so we went out to the movie. It was an incredible movie, and we just had a blast together. And then on the way home, my son began to tell me about how much all of that meant to him. And I realized something, that when I feel like a rock star of a dad and a husband, nothing fulfills me more than that. Now, unless you think that I'm being arrogant and bragging, most days I don't feel like that. Most days I don't feel like a rock star husband and a rock star dad. Those days for me can seem to be few and far between, but when they do happen, I realize what really matters in my life. I realize what is truly, truly worth it. See, that Saturday, I felt like a kid again. Why? Because I was investing in the ones that I loved, and I was giving them a gift, but ultimately they were giving me a gift. And so the reason why I share that story with you is I want to ask you today, how are you going to live your life? Because it's very, very easy for all of us, myself included, to be very reactionary when it comes to life. I mean, we get up and we get kids out to school, and we go to work, and we answer emails, and we answer phone calls, or we do whatever our job is, and then we go home, and it's very easy to become reactionary to life, being reactionary instead of being reactive instead of proactive. Establishing your day. Okay, what really, really matters to me today? What am I going to invest in? And so for me, one of the ways that I've decided is that I'm going to focus on 4 things. I'm going to invest in my body. I'm going to invest in my mind. I'm going to invest in my relationships. I'm going to invest in my relationship with God. That I'm going to do those 4 things first, because those are the things that really, truly matter. But see, those things aren't urgent. They're important, but they're not urgent. And so when we're proactive, we say, I'm going to take care of what's important, but not urgent. When we're reactive, we say, all right, I'm going to take care of what's urgent, but not necessarily important. And so I want to ask you today, how are you going to live your life? Are you going to be reactionary? Are you going to be proactive? Because when we're proactive, that's when we can begin to experience the life that I believe God intended for us to live. He said, I've come to give you a full, rich, satisfying life. And that comes from when we invest in what really, truly matters most. And so for me, that's faith, family, and that's becoming the best version of myself that I can be so that I can invest more in other people. Are you going to be reactionary today? Are you going to be proactive and go after what really, truly matters the most in your life? Well, guys, as always, thanks so much for liking and sharing this video. Thank you for joining me today for 5 Minutes of Fire.